Hello, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys. So I didn't get to post this build yesterday, so I'm posting it today. This is my Magicka Templar build for Summerset, and this is just called Lazer. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, you're going to see max Magicka at 41,050, magic recovery 1205. I am a vampire. I'm not at stage 3 yet, so it will get amped up to close to about 1,300. If you want a little bit more recovery, I'll show you how to do that. Max health is currently at 19,166. I usually like to stay between 19 and 20. You're going to see spell damage currently is 1554. Spell crit 53.1. This is a Destro build. To the left, you're going to see Magicka allocated at 54, health into 10. We are using max health and max Magicka food. We are using the Mage Mundus. And then, of course, like I said, we are a vampire. Now, I am a high elf. If you want to go with dark elf, you can. And if you want to go with Breton, you can do that. It's PvE, Storm. This is a PvE build. So, that's what we look like on the one staff. When we switch over, max Magicka will slightly drop down to 40,000. Health remains the same. Magicka recovery will slightly drop as well. And critical will drop, and I'll explain why. Resistance is pretty good, though physical is slightly under the spell resistance. All right, so let's get into the sets and what we're doing here. We are using Soul Shine, right, staff. The Soul Shine set. Believe it or not, we're going to be using a lightning staff of willpower. I will explain this. I will be getting into it. But very important, I'm using a lightning staff of willpower. It's intentional. Zons. And of course, we're going to be using Burning Spellweave. So let's get down into it piece by piece. Okay, Inferno Staff of Soul Shine. This is only on my Inferno Staff. What's it? It's weapon damage, increase, infused. Now, what does Soul Shine do? Gives me max Magicka, gives me spell crit, which is very, very important with this build. The way I've designed to be able to get enough critical value over the 50% without having to take the Thief Mundus. Very, very important. But it also is going to give me, when I'm on the staff side, an additional spell damage, and it's going to give me 434 spell damage towards my cast time and channeled abilities. There's a lot of abilities and channeled effects that the Templar has going on. We want to magnify that capability with this set. It typically is a heavy armor set. So you do really want to get the Inferno Staff along with the jewelry, along with the chest. Okay, so 2 jewelry, 1 chest, Inferno Staff. All right, Lightning Staff of Willpower. Nirnholm increased with a fire damage. Nirnholm with the fire damage glyph. Why? Okay, you can use the Maelstrom Lightning Staff. Every other Lightning Staff is irrelevant. Well, no, you can't use the Lightning Staff of Maelstrom because I'm not using the wall on this side, right? Let me take that back. No, you can use it. It's not going to do you any good. Let's put it that way. The reason I'm slotting this is because out of all the other staffs, they're ability altering, meaning they're going to alter the effect of said ability. So I have to use the ability in conjunction with the staff to get its capability. So whatever, if I was using the lightning staff, I would want the lightning wall to get the effect. The carryover will apply, but the proc won't carry over on the opposite bar unless it's on the same side with that said altering weapon. I'm not new slot. So I'm getting max Magicka by 1,451 for just slotting it. So it's perfect. It's actually really good. The agility and willpower weapons now are good if you don't even have ability altering weapons. Why? Because they count as a 2 slot now. Perfect. Excellent. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use it. Why? Extra spell damage from Nirnholm and extra max Magicka from the slot. We'll take it. Okay, we're going to use Zons. This is light. It needs to be light because I'm using the Curse of Soul Shine infused. So that's a heavy armor piece. So I have a 5-1-1 config going on. 5 light, 1 heavy, 1 medium to maintain my Undaunted passive bonus of 6%. So when I come down into the Undaunted passive, I'm looking at that and I'm increasing my max stats by 6%. All right, pretty simple. All right, so Light Infused Max Magicka. It's going to give me spell critical. It's a very much a necessity. Remember, I told you, Soul Shine gives me a spell critical. So does Zan's. So I need these spell criticals. I need them. Plus, Zan does really nice damage. So given the fact that anytime I use a light or a heavy attack, I have a 20% chance to create a beam of fire that will connect you to your enemy. This beam deals 4,781 flame damage every second to your enemies for 5 seconds. Every second, this damage increases by 50%. That's a lot of single target damage. We're going to use it with this. Why? Because we're already going to be channeling. So once this procs, we can use our other abilities without worrying about breaking, because we have to be within the distance of Zan's anyways with this build. Okay, once again, Curse of Soul Shine, Heavy Infused Max Magicka. Zan Shoulders, Medium Divine Max Magicka. Burning Spell Weave. Okay, so I'm going to be using flame damage, not just from Zan's, but other effects. So with all the flame damage I have, anytime I deal flame damage ability, it has to be the ability. It can't be from Zan's. I have a 15% chance. 1 second. Allergies, sorry. 15% chance to apply the burning status effect to an enemy that increases your spell damage by 507 for 8 seconds. This effect can occur every 12 seconds. So I'm going to be using flame damage abilities and effects to proc the Burning Spell Weave. Okay, and once again, Burning Spell Weave is going to give me what? The third critical I need. So it's critical that I have this laid out in this format so I can get enough critical values for the build. Just it's a joke. Whatever. Anyways, Divine Max Magicka, Burning Spell Weave Gloves, Divine Max Magicka, Burning Spell Weave Breeches, Infused Max Magicka, Burning Spell Weave Shoes, Divines Max Magicka. I have a Necklace of Soul Shine, Bloodthirsty, Increase. Ring of Soul Shine, Arcane, Recovery. Why? Because we're scaling Max Magicka. Now, a lot of people would ask, why the Mage Mundus over the Apprentice? I'll show you. I'll be getting into that. Burning Spell Weave, Infused, Recovery. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the skills here. Okay, primary bar, our Inferno Staff. Purifying Light, right? Think of this like Power of Light. This is going to copy damage, right? So I'm going to deal 4,176 magic damage to them and copying all the damage taken for 6 seconds, releasing 20% of it as additional magic damage. Okay, so that's copied amount max is 24,630. That's a ton of damage. Ton. I need to push out a lot. Using my ultimate, depending on, it's all about your ultimate in conjunction with this. Very, very important. I cannot stress this enough, and I will tell you why and what ultimate ability I'm using because of this. Okay, very important. Where can I get the Mage Stone in the Automarian? You can look it up in ESO Wiki. They have all that listing, Norman. All of it. I forget off the top of my head. I usually look it up and then I just go there because I haven't used the Mage Mundus Stone a lot either. So, but with this build, I definitely do. Blockade of Fire. Okay, so keep in mind in the Destruction Staff abilities, we got Ancient Knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and gain an additional 8% with single target abilities while a Flame Staff ability is slotted. So I have to have it slotted. So since I'm using the Punch Ring Sweeps as my spammable, I'm going to use the Blockade of Fire to get what? My extra 8% damage and give me a chance to do what? Proc up the Burning Spell Weave. All right? So it's going to help me proc Burning Spell Weave. Very simple. Puncturing Sweeps. Now typically, oh, no problem. Typically I use this on Lightning Staff, but since I'm using the Soul Shine set on this bar, I'm offsetting that loss, right? And it's considered a channeled effect. So because its channeling time is 1.1. That's the Soul Shine set amplifies this boost, so I'm going to use it on this bar so I don't have to bar swap. So I want to make it now if I put it on the Lightning, I would get a little bit more. Actually, I would lose it because of the Soul Shine not being on the back bar. So I want to just go ahead. The Soul Shine makes up that little bit of difference. Really nice. Okay, radiant oppression. Once again, it's a channel and it's a finisher. So I'm going to use that. I'm also going to maximize my Max Magicka. Now, this is where it's important to get the Mage Mundus. Why? Radiant oppression will scale in proportion to your current Magicka. So the more Magicka you have, the more this is going to deal. We're scaling our Max Magicka. That's why we're around 41,000 Max Magicka. We do have some spell damage, but we want to really magnify the Max Magicka as high as we can get it. Okay, once again, Inner Light, Max Magicka, and our Major Prophecy. This is the most important ultimate you're going to take with this build. Your Want Soul Assault. It's a channeled effect that will get magnified with the Soul Shine set. On top of that, when you add the Purifying Light, you get your buffs and you throw this down, this damage output will proc with this for a shitload of damage. I love it when people say Magplars are not in competitive. I beg to differ. They just don't know how to build it. This is very important. Now take a look at how much damage I'm dealing. Prior to a buff, prior to buffs, 65,368 base. This can crit over 3.5 seconds. Get out your calculator, boys and girls, right now. Okay, you're going to take 65,368 divided by 3.5 equals. That's 18,676 damage per second. No ultimate is going to deal that much damage in that duration. But for the Magplar, it deals the most. It is crucial that you get this ultimate for this build. It deals the most single target ultimate damage than any other ultimate can for the Templar, for single target, hands down. So yes, I'm using Soul Assault for my single target ultimate. Very important. Very. And on top of it, I'm using Soul Shine anyways. Works in conjunction. So, Magplar. Okay. Reflective Light. Now notice I said I don't have the other effect. I have to keep Soul Shine procced up on this. So I have to use that set. My wall's on this side. So I'm not going to be using what? I'm not going to be using a Maelstrom staff to begin with. It does me no good. Why? Because it's not on this bar. Okay? Just that simple. Just that simple. Right? So why do I want the willpower? More Max Magicka. Now, Reflective Light. I'm going to throw this. This can hit up to 3 targets. So I'm going to deal more flame damage. Keep in mind we have our Wall of Fire. Now we have our Reflective Light, which deals flame damage. That's going to help do what? Yep. Proc Burning Spell Weave. All right. Blazing Spears. Now keep in mind I said Ancient Knowledge, right? So we're putting our AoEs to this back bar. We're going to use the Blazing Spears, not the other one. Why? It deals more damage. Okay, more AoE damage. More. Plus, it acts as a utility. Now, I'm going to be using Mystical Orbs. Typically, on healers, I hate when these two are in conjunction. Why? It's a waste of bar space. But as a Magplar, I need what? I need more AoE damage. I'm lacking on set AoE damage besides my spammable, right? For my puncturing sweeps. So I need a set way of dealing more AoE. So I have the Blazing Spears as an AoE effect. I have an AoE dot. Now I use the Mystical Orbs. Now it can be used as utility. Keep in mind they both have the same global cooldown, so the same player can't target it and expect to get resources within 20 seconds of each other back to back. But I'm not using the Healing Orbs. I'm using Mystical. Why? It deals AoE damage. It's dealing 1,185 magic damage every second to nearby enemies. That's very important. Then it can also be activated as Combustion, dealing 7,156 magic damage to nearby enemies. So it can explode, boom, and all of a sudden deal a nice chunk of AoE damage. Race Against Time with the Sigic Order, really nice. On top of it, that's going to give us our Minor Force and Major Expedition. Harness Magicka, our shielding system. Keep in mind we're a little light on health. You can go a little lower if you trust your Harness Magicka. I don't recommend it, but There it is. There's our Harness Magicka. If you don't feel that you need Harness Magicka, you can also double slot your Inner Light and get more Max Magicka and increase these damaging effects a little bit more. Okay. Thunderous Rage. This is our AoE ultimate. So we have a single target. Now we have an AoE. And then keep in mind, we're maintaining that Ancient Knowledge passive where we're getting an additional 8% towards our AoE effects. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and get into the champion point, shall we? Going into the Apprentice, we have Elfborn 1208, Spell Erosion 2692, Elemental Expert 64. We have, that actually should be Staff Expert. Sorry about that. Staff Expert 411, Master. Now, we're not weaving as much as any other magic class. That's one of the downsides, too. And people are like, well, why don't you use a Maelstrom Staff with the wall? Well, because it increases light attacks. I'm channeling. When I'm using puncturing sweeps, I can't weave during the channel without the bar swap, and then I lose the image. Hey, good morning. This is what I was waiting for. Okay, cool. I hope you like it. I hope you like it, Calvin. So 4.11, we're going to amp up our direct damage effect. Now, we do have a lot of dot effects, but keep in mind we do have some direct effects that will be being applied. So we will use Master at Arms just to maintain, just some direct effects. If you want to drop this down, you can do that. Now, keep in mind, I don't have the Butcher passive. So if you want to bring this down, you very well could, because Thaumaturge is where we're going to be focused a lot of points in on. So we're going to take 2208. We have way more dots than direct. So we want that 2208, and we have this at 20. If you want to take this up to even 23, you can do that. But the only reason I didn't, just to maintain it. That's about it. You know, if you need a little bit more pen, you can go that way. But this is how I have it laid out. I want 22. I won't go over 23 with Thaumaturge because the diminishing return is not worth it. All right. So Ironclad 1602. Hardy is 37. Keep in mind I said I'm a vampire, right? So I want to increase my flame resistance. So elemental, and being a high elf, I don't want to necessarily put a fire glyph or anything on if I don't have to. I can, but I'd rather take Elemental Defender up to 14 and try to avoid as much mechanics as possible. Keep in mind, you are a Magplar. You will be healing as you're dealing damage. Light Armor Focus, 34. Thick Skin, 13. Bastion, we will be using Harness Magicka. That's 1208. Quick Recovery is at 6.17. Warlord, 10.22. Tenacity, 14%. Mooncalf, 14%. Healthy at 909. Tumbling 20, Shadow Ward 20, and that is how the champion points are allocated. I'm telling you guys, this is badass. And if people are like, the funny thing I always find when people talk about Magplar is they forget how Magplar works. You cannot build a Magplar like a Sork or a Nightblade. You can't do that, right? It doesn't weave as consistent due to its channeling effects. When I'm channeling, I can't weave as much. But so how do I take, what do I do? I have to amplify its effects. I have to amplify its effects and take into consideration what I need to gain. Now keep in mind also that Reflective Light will give you Major Prophecy. So you might need a major sorcery potions just in case, right? That's the one potion you're going to be banking on, right? Is your Major Sorcery Potion. Okay, so you'll get Major Prophecy just from the ability, but you need Major Sorcery Potions. All right, there you guys have it. This is Lazer. I hope you guys enjoy it. If anybody has any questions or comments, please post below. I want to thank you guys for watching today, and once again and always, have a nice day.